Thanks for tuning into Houston Real Estate Radio this Veterans Day. We're taking a break from real estate and honoring our veterans today and remembering those that we've lost. I'm joined in the RREA.com studio over in Spring, Texas with my co-host James Brown and my guest Dan Vargas. Dan is with Operation Finally Home. So Dan, tell us about Operation Finally Home. I mean, we know it's a fabulous organization, but a lot of people don't know the specifics about it.
Yep. Well, thank you for having this, especially on such a special day. And how we got started, Operation Finally Home was started in League City, Texas in 2005 by Dan Walrath. Dan was a builder there for about 30 years and was approached one day by a friend of a friend whose son was severely wounded in Iraq. And the family had a choice of either trying to bring him home, remodeling the home, bringing him home, or put him in a nursing home. And at that time, the government wasn't up to speed with the aid that they were providing or the benefits for veterans when they get severely injured. So they asked Dan to go look at the home. And Dan was a custom home builder and basically said, well, I don't do remodels, but I'll go look at it. But after meeting with the family and seeing before and after pictures and what the family was struggling with and the financial situation they were going to be in once they brought him home, he went back to the Builders Association. He was the president of the Bay Area Builders Association, and they took on the project to remodel the whole home. After that was done, Dan really feels that God touched his heart and said, you know, this is one of thousands that needs our help. Mm-hmm. So he started the nonprofit Bay Area Builders Association to support our troops. And at that time, they were doing one home a year until about 2009. 2009, me and Dan met a couple times, and I was working for another nonprofit at the time. And he came to me and said, you know, I really believe that God wants me to make this bigger and go farther, but I just can't do it alone. Be able to help more people. Exactly. So I came on board in 2009. Since 2009, we're getting ready to announce our 50th home.
Wow.
By the end of the year. So, and we're in 11 states. We spread from League City all over Texas.
Wow. And it all started right here in Texas.
Right here in Texas.
Right
well,
you
know what's so funny is Texas is just, I love going to other states and bragging because Texas leads the way. We always take care of our own. We roll up our sleeves, take care of our own no matter what happens. And that's been with the veterans. You know,
and we've got some great builders that are not only great builders, but they are great in our community. They give back to a lot of organizations. They help out. They're willing to step up and donate materials and time. And I mean, the GHBA has coordinated a lot of donation efforts and charities that really are well funded with builders and developers.
Well, and that's how our program works. We're not like Habitat and Humanity and other building programs, which are great. But we feel we want to get these families in the homes fast, and who knows how to build homes? Builders. And who knows how to do all the work? The contractor, subcontractor. So what we do is we team up with the builder or builder association, get those folks to donate as much as they can, and whatever they can't donate, we raise the money. So right now, for us to build a $300,000 home with all the special needs that a wounded veteran needs or his family needs, costs us about $75,000.
So are y'all still retrofitting homes as well, or building new homes?
Building new homes.
Okay.
We've basically have gone straight to building new homes. There's
Fabulous.
There's such a need, and after the economy, the crisis with mortgages and things like that, for a veteran when they leave the medical system and they're finally retired, they don't have an employment record. Mm-hmm. So for them to get a mortgage is almost impossible.
Right, that's true.
So this gives them a chance to live the American dream that they fought for. I mean, they fought for us to have the American dream. They deserve it.
Absolutely.
Now, you build each home to meet the special needs of each individual vet?
Yes, sir. When we find the family, we team up with the builder and say this is exactly what they need, and we retrofit that home to build to fit their needs.
Wow. That's great.
So the actual mission of the organization is to build the homes for wounded veterans that come back and need homes that have kind of been altered for whatever disabilities that they have.
And one other thing we do that we're different than a lot of organizations, we do build homes for the widows of the fallen also.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah,
so how many of those homes have you built?
We've done our first, and it was dedicated just a couple of weeks ago, and we're getting ready to do our second.
Wow.
Fabulous. And there are lots of photos on your website as well that they're just very moving, very touching.
Thank you. The thing I tell people, we're not building a house, we're building a home.
Right.
And the way we came up with the name Operation Finally Home is, you know that feeling when you travel and you've been on the road so much and you just can't wait to get home? Well, these young men and women were in Iraq. They got injured. They go straight to the hospital, sometimes spend two years or more in the hospital, get moved around. We want to bring them finally home. We want to give them, that peace of mind, that roof over their head, that it's going to be okay.
How do you find the veterans that you use to work with?
What we do is once we find an area that we're going to build in and get everything in place, we team up with the DOD, Department of Defense, and the Veterans Administration with their caseworkers. When a veteran is injured in Iraq, as soon as they hit the hospital, they're assigned a caseworker that follows them all the way through until they get through with their recovery and then go home and go into the VA system. And then the VA assigns them a caseworker. So those are the people that are the boots on the ground that deal with them day in and day out. So when we start looking for a veteran in the area, I can call the VA or call the Department of Defense hospital and say, hey, I'm looking for a veteran in Alvin, Texas. Do you have anybody coming home? And 9 times out of 10, it's amazing. This is unfortunately the easiest part is finding the families. There's such a great need, but I get a caseworker saying, "Oh, I know the perfect family. They're getting ready to go home. They need the help," and we find them.
And you've got a special guest calling in today, so we're really excited for you to tell us about your guest and also how you met.
I've been very blessed to know this young man. I was stationed at Randolph Air Force Base. And when I was in the first Gulf War and when Iraq kicked off and Afghanistan kicked off, I just felt I needed to do something. I was going through some medical issues, couldn't get deployed. So I started volunteering at the hospital and taking troops out on my own to do different things, and was able to get tickets to Toby Keith concert, and took a bunch of wounded troops, and J.R. Martinez happened to be one of them there. And started talking with JR, and then ended up doing another trip, and there was JR again. So I was like, man, you just keep popping up. So we just started talking and kicked off a friendship, and I've been very blessed to call him, my best friend. I've known him for 8 years. He's the one that really laid the mustard seed in my heart to be doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. He's the type of person that if you're down, as soon as he walks in the room, your spirits are lifted. I just can't say enough about him. And, every veteran and everybody that's going through adversity should just watch him and see what he does, because it's all about positive attitude, and his attitude is what's carried him to where he's at now.
So J.R. Martinez was on Dancing with the Stars, so a lot of people out there I'm sure have heard of him, seen him. So welcome to the show, J.R.
Thank you. I had to grab some Kleenex. I was so emotional because of what Dan said. He never says that stuff, when it's just us hanging out. So it really touched my heart right now.
Well, you have touched so many families throughout the country. You use your celebrity status now to really help more and more families, which is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, the biggest thing, and when Dan and I met, 8 years ago, I was kind of going through the hospital, visiting troops in the midst of my own recovery, and I spent 2.5 years in San Antonio, Texas at Brooke Army Medical Center, and I was doing some work with a nonprofit, just trying to do the right thing, just trying to help, these service members and their families with the transition of coming back home after being away for a certain amount of time, after having injuries or just coming home in general without any physical injuries. And it's just one of the things for me, as Dan, as everybody at Operation Finally Home, it's just the right thing to do. And to take care of the individual, the less than 1% in our nation's population that actually say, you know what, I'm going to raise my right hand. I'm going to leave my family, leave my friends, leave the freedom, the lifestyle that I have, to be able to just try to be a body that whenever I'm called upon, I'll be there. And I think that's a special thing. And when you see these individuals and everything they sacrifice and their families, and so, for me, what really helped me get to a good place, and I tell people this all the time, is honestly was the first time I got out of the hospital and seeing the welcoming that I got from my community, from people, from strangers, and how everybody supported me, applauded for me, tried to do things for me. What do you need? How can we help you and your family? And I was overwhelmed because I don't know these individuals. They really don't know me. But the fact that they're doing this is pretty remarkable, pretty amazing. And that was, ever since then, I understand the power of the community stepping up, and the community getting behind these service members and their families, and the impact that they can have, not only for that moment, that it's really going to trigger them for a lifetime. And so for me, the great thing is I always kind of say this analogy, and at Operation Funneling Home, when they come to a service member or the family member and say, here's the keys, when you think about it, the keys open up a front door, but you're not just opening up a door to a home, you're opening up a door to just possibilities, endless possibilities, to hope, to encouragement, to believing that, wow, we have such a big weight lifted up off of us, and we now have a life again, and they feel like, you know what, I can go out there and do anything I want to do, you know, and it's really powerful, the impact that this organization is having on these service members and their families. And so for me, you know, the little that I can do, the platform that I have, you know, I am more than happy to use it to be able to raise awareness because I understand the importance of it.
You just heard from J.R. Martinez. He's a veteran and also a celebrity from Dancing with the Stars, so we're really excited to have him on the program. We are going to go to a break in just a minute, and we're going to come back and hear more from J.R. Martinez and continue to salute our veterans who make such a difference in our country. And there are so many just here in the Texas area that have sacrificed so much. And one of the things that you said that it really hit home with me is, I know, because my husband was in the military, I know there's a lot of time when service members are deployed and they're just sitting around and they're bored because they are just guarding something or just sitting out in the desert, or, you know, they don't, it's kind of the highs and lows. There's a lot of activity and then there's none for a long time. And just giving up that family time and missing your child being born and, you know, being away from your relatives is such a huge sacrifice. So we're going to be right back after this commercial break. You're here on Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm Shannon Register.
I'm James Brown.
And we'll be right back.